These gosh darn millennials, they've done it again. What's up and welcome back to the Netma Show, where we discuss news and current events and analyze how those things impact your everyday life. My name is Kellen and I'm hoping that you had a fantastic Thanksgiving week. And with that, it looks like millennials may have pushed David's Bridal into bankruptcy. Yes, this week, the 60-year-old bridal services company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and the company itself has stated that fashion trends have changed, and as we know, millennial purchasing preferences have also impacted the economy with other companies. And specifically with David's Bridal, it appears that the impact of millennials delaying marriage has finally taken an impact on their business. So for example, back in 1974, 59% of people aged 18 to 34 were married, but now only 29% are. And when millennials do choose to get married, oftentimes they may turn to an alternative dress that's not a formal gown or formal dress used in the traditional wedding, or they may turn to online outlets, right? And so all of this combined put pressure on the company. Now, despite all this, its 300 plus stores are going to remain open and everything is going to remain normal. So if you've already put a deposit down on a dress, you bought a dress, David's Bridal is still there for you, so no need to worry. But it is interesting to see how millennial purchasing trends continue to impact businesses. Moving on, let's talk about the challenges and headwinds that the global stock market has been facing over about the past 2 months. So here in the US, the stock market has been on a steady decline, and that's due to a few reasons. And some of those things include rising interest rates, the talks about this global trade war, and worries about the future of the economy. When it comes to those interest rates, the Federal Reserve has been increasing the rate at which companies can borrow money, making it harder for them to borrow money, right? And now this is planned. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just what the Federal Reserve has chosen to do as we continue to move further and further away from the Great Recession. And then when it comes to the global trade war, it's the tensions between the US and China and what's going to happen as we move into the future with President Donald Trump versus China and how we want to work these things out. And when it comes to the economy, people are more and more concerned about when the fast growing, the super hot US economy is finally going to pop. And some people think that's going to be in 2020. So some folks are getting ahead of the curve and they're choosing to get out of some of their riskier stocks so they aren't left holding the bag. And when it comes to those riskier stocks, some contribute a lot of this decline to the FANG stocks, and that's Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google. Those tech companies, they have been on fire throughout the year, and now they're starting to cool off. And that's because some companies, like Facebook, are facing more regulation or fears of regulation from the government. Or you've got Apple, which has experienced its latest iPhone being less popular than what it's anticipated. And then Microsoft has, although reported continued revenue growth going into the future, those numbers weren't quite what Wall Street wanted to see. So all of that is combined to put pressure on the FANG stocks and also the broader stock market. Our next topic revolves around Airbnb and the potential for boycotts against the country in Israel. And this is because Israel's strategic affairs minister came out and encouraged people to boycott using Airbnb services. And that's because Airbnb announced that it was going to delist 200 properties from the West Bank area. Now, there is a humongous backstory around the West Bank that we aren't going to dive into now, but in short, the West Bank is an area of land in which Israel and Palestine both think that land belongs to them. The countries have gone back and forth on this, and the conflict is still basically going on. Right now, Palestinians live there, but only under limited self-rule with Israeli military occupation. Now, Airbnb decided to delist these things due to basically the conflict between the two countries, as it was under pressure from those that felt that a certain group of people, the Palestinians, were being displaced. Well, due to that delisting, it seemed like in Israel's eyes that Airbnb took a side. Israel did not like that. And so now it's recommending that people choose alternative services like booking.com rather than using Airbnb. Now for you, it's important to know that if you've got a trip planned over there anytime soon, this does not impact Jerusalem. It does not impact broader Israel. You should be fine, but just be aware that there may be some tensions around Airbnb and its continued use. And finally, as a follow-up to a topic that I had covered in an episode a while ago, let's talk about Amazon and its desire to take control of the 22 Fox Sports Network channels that Disney must sell off due to its purchase of 21st Century Fox. If you didn't know, Disney owns ESPN. So when it put in its bid to purchase 21st Century Fox, which controlled Fox Sports Network, the government came in and said, you know what, if you want this deal to go through, you've got to sell these channels. So Disney's selling them. Amazon wants to pick them up, which would continue to grow Amazon's strength and its clout throughout multiple parts of everyone's lives, from groceries to normal goods, payment abilities, cleaning services, you name it, Amazon is in it. So it'll be interesting to see if they win this bid, and if they do, what will they do with these channels going forward? How will they use that to, potentially advertise goods on their site? So I can't wait to find out what the future may hold. I'd love to hear what you all have to say or what you think about any of the topics that we've covered today. And with that, peace.